Hello and welcome. Sorry. I just want to ask you guys, is it okay if I make a hide the kids joke about Davis's mustache, or is that not acceptable? That's what I was gonna do, but I don't know if that's PC. Is that PC?
Probably not PC, but I'm
Yeah.
all here. I'm here to push the envelope, my friend.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Long Shot Podcast. I am your host, Duncan Robinson, and I'm here with my good friend, as always, Davis Patrick Reed. Davis sporting a mustache, I might add. Bold choice from you, Dave.
Thank you. I'm gonna be honest with you. This was birthed out of laziness. I shaved my face this morning. Didn't really feel like touching the upper lip, and so here's where we are. Kind of rocking it though, if I don't say so myself.
I think you might be the only one who's thinking that you're rocking it. I also realized that I allude to things that people can watch on YouTube, and half of our listeners are not on YouTube. But to paint a picture for you guys, Davis is sporting a highly questionable mustache. He seems to be a fan of it. Like I said, he might be the only one, but nonetheless, when Davis and I were in person this past weekend, you did not have that that mustache rocking, but I see you've made a change since the weekend.
Well, I've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso, so I think maybe this is inspired by him. I didn't go into it with that in mind, but now that we're here and I'm reflecting, I think maybe that's it. Shout out to Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Ted Lasso is a great show. Huge Jason Sudeikis fan. Kansas City native, I believe. Is that correct?
You better believe it. Shawnee Mission West,
There
backup
you go.
point guard. He
Wow.
shouts that out in an SNL skit with LeBron. Fun fact. But yes, Kansas City native. Actually, trying to get him on this podcast, Dunk. So maybe we put that into the universe. We manifest it.
Hope so. Jason, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but we'd love to have you on here.
No chance you are.
We had a fantastic weekend in the great state of Michigan. Davis now resides in Ann Arbor. I made a trip back for the first football game. If you were not tuned in to how that game went in the big house, put it simply for you, Michigan football is back. I am fully on the bandwagon. A blowout win versus Western Michigan, and I just don't know how to act. I'm here rocking my Michigan Rings shirt, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. I don't know. There was just something special in the air in Ann Arbor. I don't know if you felt it, but it was palpable.
It was my first game in the big house. The energy was great, I will say, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know if a win against Western Michigan means that the program is back, but it was great to have fans back in the stadium. We get into this a little bit with Moe, but I am staying in a house that's very close to the stadium, so I could feel the energy on Saturday morning as soon as I woke up. If there were any questions about whether Michigan is a football school or a basketball school, I met a couple neighbors the week I moved here, and every single one of them brought up football within the first 30 seconds, none of which were curious about whether I was a basketball fan or not. So I think this is a football school.
It's unquestionably a football school. It's actually a reality that I've been forced to face. And, you know, it was a constant point of contention when I was at school there, because while I was there, our basketball team was pretty good. I have some hardware to show for it, if you will.
Back-to-back Big Ten championships. We can go ahead and put it out there. A run to the Final Four.
It's actually Big Ten tournament championships, and pretty much all three of the rings that we were able to gather were because of our guest that we're having on later in the show,
True.
and not because of yours truly. But yeah, my point being is that, you know, while we were there, the basketball team was really good. The football team was not. But we had to deal with the harsh reality that no matter how we did, we could, you know, go undefeated. We could be the number one team in the country. We could go to the Final Four. We only did one of those three things, by the way. But at the end of the day, people were still going to care more about football. And I think that it just kind of added to the chip on the shoulder consistently, because it just made you think, like, no matter what you did, you still weren't loved the way that you felt you deserved to be loved. Just like a hungry dog runs faster. I think that's a saying. And we were kept hungry because people were always loving up on the football team. And I'll just go out and say it. I think the football team got comfortable. I really do. I think that they were kind of resting on their laurels, winningest program in history, Bo Schembechler, enthusiasm unknown to mankind, all these things. And the football players just thought that they could show up and that was going to guarantee them a winning record or a championship. Wow. Now, with that being said, now that I've graduated and I've removed myself from those social dynamics, I'm back on the football bandwagon and I'm ready to support Jim and the boys.
I love that. First of all, I feel motivated. I'm not a Michigan football guy, but after that trash talk, I'm ready to prove you wrong. It's hard for me to have sympathy for you because I was fortunate enough to come visit you in Ann Arbor after your Final Four run, and you would have thought that you were, goddamn Barack Obama, the way that you were getting treated. He's like not paying for anything. It's almost like you had Secret Service following you around. Maybe you did. I don't know, but it was like there's A-listers and then there's like S-tier celebrities, you know what I mean? Like there's the Leonardo DiCaprios, the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncés. It's almost like they've surpassed A-list. That was kind of where you were at the weekend that I was with you after that Final Four run.
That's a bunch of malarkey right there. If anything, Moe, I mean this honestly, like we joke about it in our little conversation, but like if anything, Moe had that status, and it was largely because Moe was really, really good. He was our best player, and Moe was also like, he's like the big foreign guy. He's like the 7-footer who like, is just kind of like running into people because, he's just like so big and he's goofy and he's funny. I was just kind of like, I was like a wallflower, I was just kind of like in the corner, like just like I don't know what you call it, a supporting cast, that's kind of what I was. But yeah, nonetheless, after we did go on our run, it was a great time, those last 3 weeks or so before I officially left campus and collected my diploma. Because that is one thing I have over Moe, is that I've graduated from the University of Michigan and he has not.
You've got a bunch of diplomas. You have, 2 high school diplomas, college diploma that took you 7 years.
I have 2. I was a double major in college as well, Davis, so please do not discredit my schooling. Anyways, anything else we want to unpack from the weekend?
No, not really. I mean, we get into some of this with Moe. We also go with him for like over an hour. So maybe we just get to the conversation. We'll let that conversation speak for itself. The last thing I do want to bring up before we get to our Reddit question of the week is I think we need to workshop the long shotters community name a little bit. That is terrible by our part. Here's some suggestions I got for you. Maybe we just go long shots. Maybe we go underdogs. We talk a lot about brick by brick. Maybe our community's the bricklayers. Maybe they're the shot takers, the shooters. I don't know. There's going to be something that's better than long shotters. That's not a thing.
I hate bricklayers because that implies you taking and missing shots. And I dislike shot takers. I would prefer shot makers because there's a discrepancy there between shot takers and shot makers.
Sure.
So if I had to choose one of the two, it would be shot makers. But I don't hate long shotters. But we can just open that up to the community. You can submit in whatever forum you so choose. We have a plethora of options. Anyways, let's get to the Reddit question of the week. We'll keep this one brief so we can just kind of keep it rolling here because like Davis said, we went for a while with Moe.
Yeah, so this is actually a mailbag leftover question that I do not know the answer to. Way of Cedric J asked what the most points you've ever scored in a game is.
It's a good question, Cedric. 42 is the short answer. And actually, Davis, it's interesting that you don't know that because you were on my team when that happened. It's kind of an illegitimate setting, I'll be honest with you.
No. I would say quite the opposite, actually.
So you do know what I'm talking about then?
I do remember this game. I didn't know that was your career high. But yeah, go on. You tell the story.
Basically, after our year of playing high school basketball together, Davis and I had the opportunity to go on a trip abroad to Iceland, Denmark, and Sweden, I believe, was the trifecta. And we played against some semi-professional and professional teams, like lower level division teams over there, and I had 42 in one of the games, and that's my high. Never surpassed 42. I think it's funny because like a lot of times when people ask NBA players this question, it's like, oh yeah, I had like 65 in high school, or I had 74 in AAU, or it's just some crazy number. 42 is like really not overly impressive. And for that, actually, if you wanted to take like actual legitimate games like high school or college, I think my high is, I want to say like 35. So it's even like less impressive.
Well, I'll push back on that. Both of those numbers are pretty impressive, and you're underselling this game. So like you said, we're a bunch of 18-year-olds just graduated high school or prep school at Phillips Exeter. We got the opportunity to go over to these 3 countries in Europe and play, like you said, some of these semi-professional teams. But this game you're talking about was the one like legitimate professional team that we played. This was the best team that we played over there. We went 6-0. I just want to point that out real quick. We went 6-0, but this was like a legitimate team, and it was by far the most competitive game. It was neck and neck, and I do remember, you just kind of dominated. I think when people look back on your high school career, when we talk about this at length, but it was not at all apparent that you were an NBA player. You were good, but I remember that being one of those games where it was like, holy shit, Duncan is really good. Like it was one of those like breakout moments where it started to become apparent about maybe what your ceiling could be. Because again, these were grown men, a legitimate professional team over there. I think this was in Denmark.
Yeah, it was.
In Denmark. And you had a legitimate 42. We're just hitting shots all over the place, and you carried us to a win. A game that we honestly should not have won as 18-year-olds. And so, let's call it what it is. 42 is an impressive number, and keeping in mind who we were playing against, the difference between grown men and 18-year-olds is drastic, but they could not hold you.
Amidst your little soliloquy, I realized what my second highest was, and it's actually 34, which was in the NBA. In high school, I never scored more than 32. College, I never scored more than 30. So if you take that out, my career high was not in high school or college, but actually as a professional, which was against the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow. I remember that game. That's impressive. Like you said, there are probably a lot of NBA guys who can say, my career high is, AAU game where I had 60. So for your second highest game ever to be in the NBA is pretty impressive. Well done.
Anyways, it was a nice Reddit question. It brought back some good memories of that trip. What do we got next? We got a long shot feature, I believe.
Yeah, you take it away.
All right, I'm going to go with Grant Dubose. Does that sound right? Last name, Dubose?
Yeah, I think that's right.
He is a wide receiver who was playing Division II football last year at Miles College, which is in Alabama. When the season got canceled, he started working 3 jobs, like just to put some food on the table. Now he's at Charlotte, Division I program, and they just upset Duke last week to open up their season. He had 4 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So to go from playing Division II, season ending, working 3 jobs, and then, 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards against an ACC program that's a pretty quick turnaround.
That is a pretty quick and impressive turnaround. I saw the post-game conference with the head coach at Charlotte, and he was just raving about this kid, his attitude, his work ethic, how grateful he has been for the opportunity to play Division I football. So that's a pretty good combination of things to be successful. A good attitude, being grateful, and working hard.
No, that's a quality recipe for success. Anyways, let's just keep pushing forward here because, like we said, we do run it with Mo for quite some time. I think this is a fun one with Mo. I mean, Mo and I obviously go way back. You and Mo go way back. Well, kind of way back. And the 3 of us were just basically just chopping it up in his house / your house. And it was a good time. I thought Mo provided a lot of insightful information, and I think you get to see who he is outside of just the agitator that he's like come to be known as.
No, we say this a lot, so I don't want it to start to lose its meaning, but this is one of my favorite ones. Like you said, we go all over the place. He has some moments where he talks about being a big brother that I thought were really impactful. He talks about dealing with adversity in the NBA and sort of finding happiness. But then we also have some fun and talk about, him getting headbutted by Giannis and, some good stuff. One quick story that we didn't get to that I want to bring up is, because I can't believe we didn't talk about this, and we'll get him back on and maybe we'll talk about it. But one of my favorite moments of your college career is Big Ten tournament. You guys beat Michigan State. You have a late and one layup to sort of ice the game, to seal it.
Madison Square Garden, mind you. Madison Square Garden.
In Madison Square Garden, the place is rocking. Michigan State. I mean, come on. And you hit this late game and one, and you go to the crowd, and you're just losing your mind. Like, as hype as I've ever seen you. And Mo, we talk about this with him a lot, but he's a very eccentric, wears his heart on his sleeve, a lot of emotion on the court guy. He just butts right in front of you and starts yelling at the crowd himself. It's like just absolutely takes your moment away from you. It is absolutely hilarious, but just, a lot of emotion. Maybe I'll cut him a little slack, a lot of emotion.
Titus and Tate, who are fellow podcasters, peers, coworkers of ours, if you will. We've actually had Titus on the show. Coined it beautifully when they said it was just like stolen valor, because it was a big moment for me. I don't get a lot of and ones, first off.
No.
Second off, I finally drive right and one. The game's kind of over. I think it put us up like 11 or 12 with like under a minute to go. And I go right over to the family section, which is right there in front of it. And it's in the Northeast, so I got a lot of people there. A lot of people. And I'm screaming to my family first, but then just like, the larger Michigan fan base, which is all there. And Mo just like drops like a shoulder on me and just kind of like wedges me out of the way and just like steps into the moment. Mind you, Mo had nothing to do with the play.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He claims that he was trying to celebrate with me, but if you look at it, and hopefully we can like kind of thread this video into at least the YouTube video, he very clearly just like steals the moment, like entirely. But yeah, I mean, fun stuff, really.
Well, what did you say? What did you yell? What did you say to the crowd?
It's a great question. It was one of those moments where, like I said, I don't get a lot of and ones. So when I did, I kind of like surprised myself. Then all of a sudden you have all this emotion. You're so excited and you have to say something. And in the moment, I didn't even realize what I was saying, but I just screamed to everybody and I said, I do this for my fucking city, which makes no sense. Like what city am I? Like, I grew up in a small town. I guess maybe Boston, but like, that's not really even my city. But in that moment, it just felt so right that I just had to run with it. Like, I probably should have like went for a more traditional, like, let's go, or like, something like that. But I was like screaming it so loud to the point where like, I actually got like lightheaded after the fact for the free throw. I think I missed the free throw because I was still lightheaded.
I do this for my fucking city is amazing. That's an all-time
special moment for sure. Made no sense at all. Or maybe implying that New York was my city. I don't know.
No. You are repping for Newcastle. That and one layup was for Newcastle, New Hampshire. Come on now. We're putting it on the map.
If anybody knows Newcastle, it's like a quaint little like New England town, like the furthest thing from a city. So for me to be on, the Mecca, the floor of the Mecca, and claim Newcastle as a city is pretty outlandish. But anyways, we really should have talked to that conversation with Mo to give him a chance to defend himself. But then again, he doesn't deserve the opportunity to defend himself. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this convo with Mo. We certainly did. Davis is just throwing around his favorite episode favorite interview for every interview. So like, you're just kind of losing validity here. But
here's the thing, I mean it every time.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this one.